Oh yeah. That kind of story. That's a caso. Chibola dancing. I say Chibola dancing. Legend Chibo Bonana. Then a Juma Matoa. Ruby Jam Metongo. And Tishin Yelin Shewacha. Ledan Chibo Sachiro. Ledan Chibo Podagi. Mobolama Shewacha. Seneson Chetini. That the Kazanskani shared the Tendashek. Oh, yeah. Oh, Chibolela dancing, Legend Chipoponi last, Chipabo Joya de Lela Denashok. Legend and the Chipopola Denashok. Chibolela dancing, Legend Chipoponi less. What the you are pending, they do some you want a job of Matoba. They do some dancing to watch you want a job of Matoba. They do some G, Sheve, some that Cheki, and the Romaki Casore. TV Shadang Kasan Yagi Tesla, Chitana Day to Dungarangi Chevata, Shenji Cheta, Nikache. You may bunny, any or Parabidogre, Chingy Tending Javajun, I say, is my tele. Or Digi, Shenji Chevata, Nika Chevata, Laki Chevala, Sawata, then Shumata, then the Juma Matoba. Any tribute to Matongo, this year.
Chachi lesson.
Ah, that's it.
Chachi. So there's a verse from the Basic Wisdom on Basic Wisdom of Arya Nagarjuna, and it says that the agent is established based upon the object of action. The object of the action is based upon the agent. Those So then, since the agent is established in dependence upon the object of action, and the object of action is established in dependence upon the agent, these are established dependently, and as they originate dependently, and there's no there's no establishment of them apart from this dependent origination relation. So here this is expressing the idea that things are only contingently established. That is, they only are established contingent upon other things. And the same thing is expressed in another verse from the praise of the transcendent that we went over previously. So then, so it says then in that verse that we went over previously in the praise to the transcendent, that suffering is not made by itself. It's not made by another. It's not made by both. It's not made by without any cause. And someone who, some philosopher or logician who asserts any of those kinds of mistaken concepts of the way in which things arise, then you have said here, referring to the Buddha, that instead that things arise through dependent origination, and you accept things as arising as being empty. So we went over that verse previously, and what that also is establishing is that whereas other philosophers would like to posit or establish causality such that an agent and the object of the action of that agent are have some kind of relationship, like that, such that they're able to be established on their own. These sorts of relationships entail that they cannot be established in that way. They're only contingently established.
Oh yeah. Tishi nyelen shewa cha se ga la. Ani nyelen da nyende gi nyende nyo tiang. Nyelen shewa tiang nyende le tene sha ko wa. Nyende se ya tiang ani nyelen le tene sha ko wa. O tigi le da chebo sa chi ro se ga la le da chebo bo nyo de pen ju tene jo ba de ani sa wo sha ba tigi ko ya. Ledan cheba podaki o sama cheba cha sikala ani cheba podang lesu chawa yin de penju de ru ko na shaba ma to rawang ko na sa ju me ba de o sama la pa cha ko re deni she
So one should know this via reality as it really is. And that is then that these agents and the objects of actions of those agents are only established contingently. That is, they only exist through mutual dependence. That's their reality. And just as one understands one thing in that way, that the agent and the object of action are only established contingently through mutual dependence, then one should equally apply that to all other things, all other phenomena.
Oh yeah, that he digi kase chungo mi toy kaso. Ani di ebe dike di chungwen di chung ani mari balatene ani khasure ni wale mari balatene le cha chung suana xin cheni ani rijin chawi ka yu ka so ani khasa di ebe di chung be la ani de ebe di chung be rimbo ja rimbo tani tungo shin rimbo chuna tungo shin de ban de ge be ani mame chuna esa shin wo so na shin chene ta be la be ka so ani rimbo tan tungo la tene rimbo de ne sha ya ta o ani se rimbo la tene tungo de ne sha ya o de kan di ben di ge be de la ani mame chunga la tene esa wa chunga o tisi cha kare re sana 규전 디바짬지 아니 치다나고 뭐 샤바잠 마도 아라와용 뭐 좀해봐지 뒤주고 하래.
So this is exactly as it's explained in the Precious Garland, also of Arya Nagarjuna, where he is referring here to in the Abhidharma system, the treatment of metaphysics in general. There are statements where it says that this existing, this occurs. This existing, this is generated. So there, meaning that if one thing exists, then another thing exists on the one hand, or one thing existing as a cause generates another thing as an effect. That sort of relationship. So in the Precious Garland, this is explained that, so we can look at this in terms of like two ways. One, that, for example, relationships of mutual dependence, like long and short, or short and long. Short and long exist in dependence upon each other. Mutually dependently, such that that they're mutually dependent. And then another way of, in terms of the generation of something by something else, we can understand that via the example of a lamp and its radiance. The lamp is when the lamp exists in the correct way, then the radiance of that lamp is generated.
Oh yeah, obe teta kita karere sana anita kini dibatamji kewa sedi. Ani kini dibatamji se kana tena tabatamji kewa. Tena tabatamji kewa se ki tamji tre ani tashi kewa de je. Tashi je면 ane zo de 다 라신지 깨와 제주가 안에 다시 깨와 그쪽으로 와라 다시 깨와지 이럴 때는 간지 주매 받아 완전 유다서다 다시니가나 가서 다시니가나 뭐는 겨울에 주바 마연바 다시 때내라도 깨와 유르세야 돼 오다 개인 디바tam지 깨봐 연장 안에 다시 깨와 말해 진짜 말해
Den ik dacht wat So these examples can demonstrate to us, by means of these examples, we can demonstrate that and understand that things are merely exist as they are dependently designated. When it says merely dependently designated, that the merely qualification there excludes things arising from any of the four extreme alternatives of self, other, both, or neither, or without cause. So the mere arising of things, or mere existence of things, as they are dependently designated, excludes that any of those four alternatives, extreme alternatives. And this likewise entails that kini tibutsamgi kiwa.
Then and
so this another way of saying this, that things being merely dependently designated, eliminating that actual way they are, eliminating any of the four alternatives of things existing or arising from any of the four extremes. This another way of saying this is it's mere conditionality. Just mere conditionality is another way of saying merely designatedly, merely dependently designated.
Oh yeah, that then 아니 타냐 점도 예봐 세기 점지대 가르치고 와래서나 점자기 아니 가사 타냐도 예봐 점 세디기 아니 가사 아니 군조도 예봐야 미점 가사 군조도 예봐 미쳐봐 양 민기 타냐지 왕게 샤바 가사 탐자양 아니 예봤던 바 많이 봐
So then this when we have this this qualification of mere, we say things are merely dependently designated, or they merely exist conventionally, or they merely exist phenomenally. That merely qualification there excludes things existing. 타냐 공항이
타냐다 때나 따바점도 예 세와 가사 타냐점도 예 세당
So this is like when we say that the person is merely dependently designated, or it merely exists as it's dependently designated, or merely exists conventionally.
그래서 내생이 뭐 들으선도와 가사 군조도 예봐 점 타냐도 예봐 점뭐 시베 점이제 가사 군조도 예봐 미쳐라 군조도 예봐 제그 말이지. 원하양 민계와 그 타냐지와 그 강샤바 탐제 안에 여봤던 거를 와서나 태양던 바 말이지.
So this this qualification of mere means that it's saying that the person merely exists phenomenally, and that excludes it existing in any way which is not dependently designated, but that does not exclude or negate its existing conventionally.
다 오늘 가르쳐와래 주구와래에서나 가사 그 타냐 따위 된데 가사 가나서 타냐 따위 된데 랑게 천이지 주나 아니 대형 코로나 랑게 뭐네 아니 예바 송와데 제지 예바 송기 대형 코로나 랑게 뭐네 예바 송기 타냐지 따비 왕게 예바 마 송와데 짜져버려.
So this this likewise excludes that object, such as a person, which is dependently designated, and it excludes it existing objectively within its basis of designation in a way that is established by means of intrinsic identity. So it negates that sort of existence of a designated object like a person as existing by means of its own intrinsic identity within its basis of designation, but it doesn't. That doesn't exclude or negate it existing conventionally.
오야, 다 된다와디 아니 가서 타냐다요 되랑게 천이지잖아. 대코란이지 여바 송게 요새 타냐 티왕게 여바 마송와지 저바 인상 여바 마송와디 다 리시지 크장 리시지 가장 리시지 가장 양 강사 가면 건봐 강사 키면 거봐 아니 추진 통화 해진 통화 시에 안에 타냐에 와 좋고 그래
추진 통화다
추진 통 강사한테 키면 거봐 아니 추진 통화 해진 통화에 타냐에 와 좋고 그래.
So then nevertheless the fact that the rational awareness which investigates reality, it does not find this designated object within the basis of designation. So it doesn't ascertain the person existing within its basis of designation. But that doesn't, and it's 릭식이 통화돼.
타냐도 취진 통화, 강사 통화 세게 타냐 아니 약자고 그래.
릭식이 닥실을 가리 그래서 랑기칭이 두번 개그와.
요새 가사를 된다와랑 그 전에 있는 요 코로나랑 그 모유권에 여바송의 요새 타냐 뒤에 왕그 여바 마송와도 잡아라와. 여바 마송와도 릭식이 키바라와. 여바 마송 릭식이 키도 잠바 아니 가사 코로나 키면 좀 키면 좋아. 아니 가사 통어 대신 통어 취지 통어 시에 탄양 여봐 좋고 그래.
So then this rational awareness investigating reality, it negates any kind of objectively established existence of the person within the basis of designation or existing in any way whatsoever. It's not established objectively, but nevertheless, that doesn't negate the existence of the person conventionally, because, and the way we can know that is that we can say we see Devadatta, we see Yajnadatta, we see persons. So the seeing of them entails that they're not negated. 릭식이 랑문이 두고 객
텐더와디 릭식이 크장 릭식이 또와 텐더와 돈이래도 와 요코랑 그런 거에서 요새 타냐 티왕그 여바 안에 마송와데 가차차 그와 테키도 잡아 릭식이 크어와데 가차로 와 so it is 타냐 지만 그 따바 맞아 진짜 집발에 와라 라
랑이칭이 그만 또 봐.
가서 요카랑 그 왕기 요지원에 여바송기 요새 탄야지 왕기 여바 마송와디 모유내서라 민기 탄야지 왕기 샤바 멤버 또배 따섬이 와라.
So here, what's being excluded then is that without the subject designating the object, upon its base, then the designated object doesn't exist within its basis of designation. So this rational awareness that's investigating reality negates any kind of the sort of objective status of the thing existing without being designated by that subjective designating awareness. So therefore it negates that status of the person as being objectively established within its basis of designation without any kind of a subjective designation of the person. Yet that negation of that status of things, their objectivity in that sense, does not negate the existence of a person like Devadatta or Yajnadatta or yeah.
텐더와디 리시지 크나양 그봐 다 취지 통어 가사 통어 시야 그 탄양에 와 자고 그래.
So though that reasoning awareness that's investigating reality, it negates that objectively established status of the person. It negates the person existing in this objective way. Nevertheless, because we know and we see persons, we see different kinds of persons.
그래서 전단 탄연이지 나네 저랑은 오니지 여봐 마소나 안에 탄연지 왕고 여봐 외매 그리베 두고래 성하래. 봐 전단 탄연랑 이기는 아니 유코랑 그 원에 여봐 마소 매매나 유코랑 그 원에 여봐 매나 아니 민게 따바참 탄연지 왕고 여봐디 아니 외매 그리발 때는 두고래 성하랑도 또 뭐든나
된기 왕기 샤포 말해.
전단 탄연이지 나네 전데 랑은 오니지 여봐 마소나 랑은 오용은 랑은 오이 원에 맞주나 여봐 매나 다 연이 요거래 아니 탄연지 왕고 여봐래 여주 요 말에 저주 요 말했어 여기서 저주들은 이 연구도와 유중원의 여바직당 민기 따담지 왕고 여바직 이 연구도와 어디 연구도와 아니 전난 탄연이 지나네 대용공 대랑공 오니지 여바 마이나 아니 전데 시태단테 랑공 오니지 여바 마이나 다 요주 가래 요아래 간지 요아래 산 안에 타냐게 딱 봤던 줄 여봐디 예매 그리고 두고 그래.
So then within, if we think of the person as the designated object, and then the convention for person as that which is designated upon that person as object, then we would have to say that 된다 탄인이기 나네.
된다 탄인이기 나네. 더란 건 오니지 여봐 마소나 여봐 매나. 아 연이 여와리 아니 민기 탄이 저런 거 샤바탄 만도 쇼츠 요 말이지. 쇼츠 니레메 아마데 매나 치마들 조스며.
So if we think about a person in as two ways, being established by objectively, that is existing objectively within its own basis of designation, and on the other hand, the person as simply designated by convention, established as dependently designated via convention, then this kind of analysis which investigates the nature of reality and the understanding which derives from that, it negates the objective existence of the person, the objective existence of the person, but it doesn't negate the person being designated through as a convention through 타니 그멍샤바 깨기 말해. 타니 왕샤 깨기 말해.
니 쇼트 니리가 말했어. 다 더란 건 오니지 여봐 마이나 아니 민기 따봤더니 여봐래 여여 말했어.
So when we've excluded the thing existing objectively, that the such as a person having objective existence within its basis of designation, when that's excluded, and we nevertheless unquestionably know that persons exist, then that entails that the person must be merely conventionally designated by means of language and thought upon its basis of designation.
대선도 아주 권례에서래. 자식들이 나라. 말한다고 이런 게 생기지 추와라. 개왕아마냐 광바체와 인장. 랑게 천이 주와 점발라 콤체베 콤바체와 인상 아니 민게 타냐지 딱바 잠라 아니 준대 줘바데 로라 데보요 말이스 로라 데보요 말이스 뭐 하고서 저랑아마 랑게 천이 주와라 콤바체베 인베 콤바체베 왕게 랑게 천이 주 진주라 콤체베 왕게 아니 랑게 천이 주와 많이 봐또 민게 파다 잠지라 아니 준대 줘바데 로라 데그 말이스 lot medeyang ani yosu jene ni le yo mares ani minge dawa zang la junjia joju ji dang ani rangwe ne chuba le junjia joju ji ni yo res shuba rangwe ne chubi junjia jo na ani kwang du xie ba za ge le dan che ba bu ji du jo la so ba ani da rangwe ne chubi junjia la kwang du xie ba ge ge mang bo de ju gu yo wa yin zang 아니 아마라 깨예 아마라 깨yen다 아니 치마라 줘바텔라 예요와 말이스 치마 줘발레 예요와 말 저주 니레미 아마라 깨예나 아니 치마 줘발레 예요와 말이스 예메 바이야 로디 티초스 장화차오 선도아
티초스 장수
아란도 로디 티초스 장고리
So then we once we've established well first we have to say that our minds have been habituated to viewing things as being intrinsically, having intrinsic identity, being established by means of their intrinsic identity, being established objectively. Our minds have been habituated to knowing things, misconceiving things in this way, beginninglessly. So because of that habituation to misapprehending things or apprehending things as if they existed intrinsically by means of their own intrinsic identity or objectively. Therefore, this kind of way, trying to understanding them in the sense of being merely designated dependently, that is, from the subject side, the subject applies onto the designated object a designation, and that sort of way of understanding things is very difficult to reside in our minds because of our habituation to seeing things as having intrinsic identity. So, so the way to gradually lead oneself in the direction of understanding things as being merely subjectively designated rather than objectively established, having intrinsic identity which is objectively established, is to recognize that there's only two alternatives here. That is, either things exist by means of their own intrinsic identity, or else they are from the subject side, the identity or designation is placed upon the thing which is designated. Those are two mutually exclusive alternatives, and once one comes to recognize gradually over time that the first alternative of things having objective identity would entail all of the different kinds of problems, irreconcilable problems that we've gone over already, such as like in the case of this verse that we just quoted from the Basic Wisdom, where it says that that agent and object of action would become, if they were identical, then all sorts of irreconcilable faults or problems would obtain. And then likewise with cause and effect, if cause was absolutely identical with the effect, then irreconcilable problems would arise. Or if it was intrinsically or absolutely different or other than separate from the effect, then all of the different problems that we've gone over already would obtain. So these, through recognition, gradual understanding of the faults that are irresolvable with respect to holding things as having intrinsic identity, then we can gradually lead our minds in the direction of recognizing things as being simply merely designated dependently, simply that we, as it were, we designate upon the basis of designation the designation that we give to it.
Oh yeah, that it. Ngarang zutaw la, anta kasa mingi tawa la, junja joba machine ke teda la, ta ngos machine na ya da lo de ti chos 창고래 전에 안에 제 투자와 전부 또만 나인 바래. 전화 탄연이 지고네 더란 거 뭐니지 여봐 마서나 탄연이 원고 여봐 예매지 주보 소아 직체. 예선이 뭐나라. 나 뒤나뒤 다시 되잖아. 예준이니는 매라 아마 밑에는 치마 줘봐라. 예 매배 로디 티셔서 창화 차오고 전에 옷도 쓰다만 나인 바래.
So then, once we've done this, and it required, because of this conditioning or habituation to viewing things as having an objective status or intrinsic identity, then it takes time, and we have to gradually lead ourselves to seeing things as not having that kind of status. And then on top of that, and as well, once we've understood that things don't have objectivity in this real sense, they don't possess intrinsic identity, then we will necessarily have to understand that they're merely designated. We from the subject side designate things. That and within that understanding, then we have to be able to establish cause and effect, karma and its results, and all of those things. So that
그래. 조선이 일면라 설마 랑게 천이지 추와라 공바 체베 또배 따바담라 준대 조바디 로라 미대양 다 조선이 일이요 말이 랑게 천이지 추와라 준대 조야지 당 민달라 준대 조바지 일이요 말이 랑게 천이지 주 준대 조나니 아니 차제직도 타와라 소바기 다 교영 공도 망버데 주고 와리 대존에 간라 다 또배따와담라 준대 조발래가서 예요와 말이 인자 다 로지 티처 또배따와 준대 조발티라 로지 티처스 참고래
디교수
야
교수
this one
So to repeat what I just said, that translated, a translator asked for clarification there, but it's the same thing, that once one understands that there are just these two alternatives, either things are objectively established from their own side, and they have intrinsic identity, or else they are simply merely designated by thought and language. Their designations are applied to them, and that is what that is how they're designated. Those two alternatives are mutually exclusive and comprise all possibilities. When one eliminates gradually the first one, then one comes to see that this kind of way in which we simply designate things conventionally, but within that, we nevertheless, without question, have to be able to establish cause and effect, the relationship between agents and actions, relations of mutual dependence, and so forth. All of these conventionally valid relationships have to be established. And then if we do that gradually, we'll be able to come to an understanding how those relationships can be established within the context of things being mere names and being merely designated upon their bases of designation.
Oh yeah, that is 나 되는 다 민기 타냐담을 준자 저거 완자 다 된다 간들에서 가상 신점들 자가나 태양양대니 양대세대 간들에서나 아니 녀몸비 처마 세바점지 세자 심지 녀몸비 처마다 세비 세자 동반이 되라 아니 양대스고래 지당 양대기 천이라 아니 년주밤비 소소다고 그만 년주밤비 소소다고 년주밥에 소소 따고 세대 간대질에 쓰고 아래 사나 탄주율라 아니 심지 녀몽배 처마 세비 아니 세자 아니 동반이 되라 어다 세비 아니 동반이 되라 냥대 쓰고 아래 어 된다와데 아니 된단 된바 어 냥대 된담 된바라 리바 추주베 저와 샤바따르 임베 와
So then, to review what we were talking about yesterday, where it's a discussion of what nirvana is, that nirvana is the negation or the elimination of the stains from within the mind, and these total elimination of the total elimination or extinction of the stains from the mind is called nirvana, and in this system, it's also within this system of prasangika system, then nirvana is likewise ultimate reality, emptiness.
Oh yeah, 시아바다 임베 텐자리 심지 주마당 주마세비 사자 양담 동반이 무슨도 통위 로티 오라 아니 라신지 마주 신도 라신이 추어 나와 그 루아요 말이 나도도 내서 믿음 봐요 말이 가래서나 텐데위 양데 텐단데와 무슨도 로티 춘용 돈용 무슨도 로 돈용 무슨도 로라 탄주 루디라 아니 사메기 시와 연구하래 사메기 시와라 마르바다 티 칸파자 칸우 말해봐 추나 맹게지고 거래 대고와 인자 대고숨도 또 로팅고 장신지 마주 신도 태나의 루가 메라.
So this nirvana, then, it's ultimate reality, emptiness, which is this complete extinction of the stains of ignorance from within the mind. This, as it's explained in the commentary on the 60 verses on reasoning, the Chandrakirti's commentary, and therefore it says, and then it says that within the perspective of the cognition, which sees this directly, here this is referring then to an uncontaminated awareness in which understands emptiness directly. Within the perspective of that sort of cognition, which is directly seeing it, this ultimate reality, emptiness, it doesn't have the deception of that appearing as if it was established by means of its own intrinsic nature.
demba taba sede nyande töndan dembare nyande töndan demba yinzang töndan demba ngosumdo tongwi loti ngo rangshi ji maju jindu tennawa ki luwa meba yinzang ani miluware stoni de ranayu rangosumdo towi lotela nawa da chuba yinzang rangyu de chi yujang go zola nawa da chuba yinzang miluware o dida de milu cheje nyangale dawo 다들이 라만 두제 남니 전남 덴바레 셴비 다 고된레 셴비 라마 아니 동마 덴바다 아니 군중당 남데 어 두제 라만 두제 남니 랑고숨도 나위 롱어로 아니 다 군중 남생게 로인장 랑고숨도 로제 사제 셰바 사제 셰바 인장 로팅오 랑신지 마주신도 텐나웨 루와 예베 luwa yebe demba chuma du che demba chuma du che bi ribe che ba na che su ki demba chuma minbe di demba de ani nane tumbi che la demba se ware ma do ani demba chuma du che bi ribe ani che su du che demba chuma minbe o ten la shu du ma sam bi min zam ji cha be ji shi cha sin zang demba chuma du shi demba tang So
then, so this ultimate reality, emptiness, nirvana, which is this extinction of all the stains from within the mind. When this this ultimate reality is directly cognized, within the perspective of that cognition, here this is referring to a uncontaminated gnosis which directly realizes its object here, emptiness, ultimate reality. Then it doesn't have any kind of the deception of the deception of the thing appearing in a way in which it doesn't appear. That is, within the perspective of that cognition, there's no disparity between the way the thing appears and the way it exists. It perceives it as it is. And so therefore, this is in reference back to the quotation from the sutra, which was given just previously, where the Buddha says that, O monks, this supreme reality is single, is one thing. That is, it's the undeceptive. It's a thing which is undeceptive nirvana, and so this is here in reference then to the ultimate reality, emptiness, as it's perceived within as it's cognized within the perspective of this cognition that perceives it directly, such that the deceptivity of something appearing in a way in which it is different, appearing in a way which is different from the way it exists, that sort of deceptive appearance or mistaken appearance doesn't appear at all to that cognition. But then it's with respect to the remaining things which are created. Here, this is referring to the other three portions of the Four Noble Truths: the suffering, origin, and path. Those created things within the perspective of a cognition which is to which they're appearing directly. There is that kind of deceptivity of their appearing in a way in which they don't exist. That is, they appear as if they existed by means of their own intrinsic existence. Although they don't exist by means of their own intrinsic existence, they nevertheless appear that way. And here we're talking in terms of the perspective of a contaminated kind of cognition, which is seeing the other three truths, and which are created things directly. Since that's the case, that sort of deception is deceptive quality of appearing in a way in which it doesn't exist applies to these other three truths, then one has to carefully distinguish them. And so when one investigates, when one analyzes things by means of the reasoning that investigates whether or not something is established as real or not, then since there's nothing which is established as real which is able to withstand analysis, one has to think about this very carefully. What is being said here is that the ultimate reality, which is nirvana, or in this context is nirvana, and is emptiness. That doesn't. There's no disparity in the way it appears and the way it exists within the perspective of its principal cognition, which is seeing it directly, whereas all of the other things have this sort of deceptive appearance of the thing existing as if it existed by means of its own intrinsic nature. So, however, it's not the case then that nirvana, ultimate reality, emptiness, is established as real in the sense of something that is able to withstand analysis. That is, emptiness as such is not established as real in the sense of something that is able to withstand analysis. It's described here as being real because it's real in the sense of appearing as it exists to this uncontaminated cognition that sees it directly, but it's not being said to be real in the sense of being established as real in the sense of something that is able to withstand analysis. So one has to carefully think about this, and if one doesn't carefully think about the distinction in detail about this, then what's the purpose of being attached to the mere name of this? That is, this mere name nirvana, if one thinks it's real in the sense of being able to withstand analysis, then what value is that?
Oh yeah. Demba chuma to ribe jaba na jesu ji demba chuma ba chuba mimbe. Ta demba asia yoba zamji. Ani kaso chue di jua ma res shibdu masamba min zamna chaba ji shi cha sta de che. 다티 태주라 아니 녀모비 저와 세잠지 동바 아니 세잠지 동바니데 아니 냥대죠 냥대서 되게 태주 네 다르바 주지 농데 주고도现日把出去完了18年냥한테 18코와连就往个中有碰碰是吧아니 18코와당 냥데 아니 가서래 녀모连碰碰是连个叫是18아니 녀모是18 18年냥한테我的18다 컨대 니오데18단 냥한테 니오데 라신지 주 여봐야 말해 니부터니 라신지 주 여봐 말해 라신지 주바면 된바 여봐 말해 18용수 세와니是个18세비 세자连就往过 아니 통보 세비 세자 동반이가 야나 녀모 비주바 세비 아니 세자 동반이 용수 세와니 세자테 된데 세자 용수 세와 세주 아니 세자 동반이 되라 냥알 대와 시고와리 세바 용수 세와니 냥데 냥알 대시 쳐와줘 데시고와리 야 안데
냥데스나 닌줍세베 냥데스 닌줍세베
사밤 냥이 기와 세베 사바야 냥데
린융기 So then the way the valid establishment of this previous point is given next. That is the way in which when this is established as it can be demonstrated. It says, moreover, the 60 verses says, existence and nirvana, both of these do not exist. When one thoroughly understands existence, then that is called so-called nirvana. So here, existence refers to the existence in the sense of existing within samsara under the control of karma and mental afflictions. And nirvana is defined here as the extinction of the obscurations that are mental afflictions. That's one way of defining nirvana here, or one could also define it as the extinction of rebirth within existence by the force of karma and the mental afflictions. So the two of these, both of these, when it says they don't exist, that means that they don't exist by means of their own intrinsic existence. They're not seen to exist in that way by means of their own intrinsic existence. And then where it says by thorough understanding of existence, here this could be understood as thorough existence here, referring to that which is to be extinguished, rebirth in samsara, or the mental affliction, the thing to be extinguished, being referring to the obscurations that derive from the mental afflictions. Then thorough understanding of those refers then to understanding emptiness, which is the agent. That understanding of emptiness is thorough understanding of emptiness is the agent that extinguishes that which is to be extinguished, the existence in this sense. Then that is referred to. That is called nirvana.
Oh yeah, that 되게 책제 되게 쇼라가 담보 책안 담보니까 되어왔더라. 제 시신이가 18코와당 시와냥대 니가 라신지 여바 민바탕 18탄데 냥아데 니워드니 여마인 스테이저와리체 18 라신지 매바 추바 시위 유니라 세데 디나랑 전에 때 지금 사마리 사인도 디라디 18 라신지 추바 매바 시와스라 란추어스가 아니 시바 아니 가서래 시바 세비 세자 라 시바 코바 세비 세자 랑신지 동바 아니 랑신出版没把写背写比你写的有的可是是那아니 세바코와 세비 세자 랑신지 마 주바 들어봐 대 양대를 줘봐야 만도 아니 코와 랑신지 매번 양대 이전에 된 지고 말이 세바 랑신지 주바 매봤으나 내 지고 말이 이 투자에 있어서 그러봐 세바 세비 세자 랑신지 주바 매봐 시비유 아니 가서래 세자 돈이 돼 양대로 와 어때라 양대 줘봐 셰베 코와 덴바 매비 돈바 아니 가서 덴바 매바 인자 코와 떼네 매바기 아니 채돈도 대바기 초칼레이
This is you'll need Tony Crown. 시바 랑신기 두바 메바
시바 랑신 메바 시바 세바 랑신기 두바 메바 시비 유 니라 냥데 조베
이 토니
시바 세바 유 랑신 메바 시바 세비 사바
시바 So then the explanation of the first two lines here in this quotation is that the first line first two lines say that existence and peace, both of these do not exist by means of intrinsic nature. So existence here is referring to samsara, and then peace is referring to that which transcends samsara, nirvana, etc. And those do not exist by means of their own intrinsic nature. Then, likewise, since this passage explains that the object of the understanding that existence does not exist as established by means of its own intrinsic nature, that is nirvana. So it explains it, it posits or states that nirvana is this object, the object itself. This differs a little bit from the previous explanation that we gave, but here it's saying that emptiness, the object itself, which is the emptiness in this sense of the emptiness in the sense of the extinction of the stains of the mental afflictions, the emptiness in that sense is that form of emptiness is the object of the awareness which understands that existence does not exist by means of its own intrinsic nature. Therefore, since these two lines are to be explained in that way, then how could this possibly support a position which asserts a nihilistic interpretation of emptiness, which in the sense of claiming that emptiness means that samsara is completely non-existent, has no reality whatsoever?
Oh yeah. 가서 코 덴바 메베 동바 차동도 대비 초카라 인세. 라. 다디니 주지바 동이 예장 덴바 춤무거 봐. 라 동바니 예장 덴바 춤무거 봐. 콘도 친 대바기 롱. 야게 동바니 덴베데 제가 친이 손바데 대다 군지 연mon도 람디 캄디냐마 체마인 세트 송거가 이거라 내기 나 돈이 여지 간바 돈이 세대 안에 되지 잠바 담바 추고래 ko rikshi ji ngo yo wa yin zang rikshi ji ngo yi de yo wa de na tenpa chu ko re rikshi ji ngo ro ka so re rikshi to rikshi de rikshi se re to ni to bi rikshi ki si ngo ro kun so yuan na den chu zhuo guo re rikshi ki si ngo ro to ni yuan na den chu zhuo guo ma re li ma xie ba qia ga qian ni 아니 리시지 모르나 된주도 조거와 인상 된주 조거와 인상 단단대바 대바 추와 인생게 아니 양 리시지 모르나 대바 추고 요와 인상 아니 단단대바 세자 마인시에 다들이 거기가와 나마 개와까지 총하러와 리시니 뭐 소만하니 리시라 샤자연나 된주도 송외 뭐니 개와대자 같이 되니로 되라 라라 리시 유메다 현在日报单제바 그 도바천에 유예메도 저거 전에 어서와 나신 전에 차와 주지 생계랑 라서와게 예 두스 다 등가 망보여와 인상 뒤순거리 다 리시 경우 예 가서 리시 경우 이제 담바 주묘거와 친인데비 론데 가보니 데비 론데 양 라시지 추와 메베 돈이 땜베 돈 남기 아니 你们现在这些早啊，打你们现在这早当成马里巴一把，哦，你们现在这些早啊，我真正多比天都，俺那他提闲鱼没把，闲鱼没把，断把断把，提闲鱼没把断把引进，是吧？断把引进，断把那节约送把断把那太大工具你们多，所以讲了当真这个，你们哦用这个。 你们现在这早啊，我真正多比程度，俺那真正这个闲鱼没把断把引进，真正的有，那你隔壁让新他们家给当你断把买的，你们多是也给断，俺那哦，真正的开始你断把引进，真正的有那你隔壁让新他们家给看当你没把断把买的是，让新他们家给看当你没把断把买了。
So then the way in which we established what has been stated above is here it says that although in the subject heading which is inserted into the basic text, it says that although emptiness exists, that doesn't entail that it is established as real. It's not necessary that it be established as real. And therefore, one's able to understand the meaning of the passage cited above in the praise to the Dharma Dhatu. And then, in that way, by understanding the meaning of this, one can get rid of an apparent or a supposed contradiction in our position. And here, the opponents are saying that if emptiness appears within the there are multiple positions here. Some would say that if emptiness appears within the perspective of the reasoning consciousness, which is investigating reality, then it has to be it must necessarily be established as real. Others would say, and that would entail that that it's the appearance of that if it exists within within the perspective of this reasoning awareness which investigates reality, then it would have to be established as real. Therefore, emptiness can't appear to that kind of reasoning awareness, that within the perspective of that reasoning awareness. And therefore, if something doesn't, and they also claim that if something doesn't, the only real thing is that which is established within So the point here is that within this system, within the prasangika system, the fact that emptiness or ultimate reality appears within the perspective of the awareness which has investigated reality, that doesn't entail that it be established as real in the sense of being something that is able to withstand analysis. On the other hand, conventional or phenomenal reality, things which are pertain to phenomenal reality, if they appeared within the perspective of that kind of awareness, reasoning awareness that investigates reality, then they would necessarily be established as real. Now, different earlier Tibetan masters and some contemporary with Je Rinpoche also had a different view of this, and they believed that if something ultimate reality cannot appear within the perspective of this reasoning awareness that investigates reality, because if it did appear, they say, then it would be established as real, and there are all sorts of problems that derive from that. So they then claim, some of them would claim then, therefore ultimate reality is not an object of knowledge. It is not a object of knowledge in any way whatsoever. Then Rikshing Dimpa Drubna, Dini Da Chapachugi Singila Sopo, Denzo Rikshing Ola Yuna.
안에 담바 추고 인장 안에 전단 담바 세장 많이 있으니까 야 르싱오에는 담바 추고 인장 안에 전단 담반도 된주 인생게 아다 된주 연구하리
So then other masters, so one sort of side of this would claim that they would claim that if something appears within the perspective of this reasoning, this awareness that derives from investigating reality, that if it appeared, then it would be established as real. And the problems deriving from that lead them to believe that it can't appear to that kind of awareness that has investigated reality. And therefore, they claim on this side that ultimate reality is not an object of knowledge. So that's one side of this in a sort of wrong view about this. Then on the other hand, some other Tibetan masters said that if something appears, they also say that if something appears within the perspective of this reasoning awareness that investigates reality, then it has to be established as real in the sense of something that can withstand analysis. And they then conclude that since ultimate reality, emptiness, necessarily has to appear to this kind of awareness which has investigated the nature of reality, therefore ultimate reality is established as real. So they assert that it does exist in that way of being established as real.
Oh yeah. I say, come to me about them, Mino,
So therefore, the meaning of this passage from the praise to Dharmadhatu is that that all of the sutra, all of the sutras which teach the emptiness which teach emptiness in the sense of things not existing such that they're established by means of their intrinsic existence. These are for the purpose of eliminating the misapprehension of things as being real, which is this misapprehension of things as being real is the ignorance which apprehends things as real, or another name for that, and that is the root of all of the other mental afflictions. So this passage out of the Praise to Dharmadhatu then says that this is showing that the conceived object of that misapprehension of things as being real is non-existent, but it's that passage, this verse, does not show that emptiness is non-existent. It does not show that emptiness here is the term being, or is what is being referred to by the term the naturally pure element. Okay, naturally pure element refers to its nature is the cessation of the two kinds of selves, which are the objects of the misapprehension of things as being real. So this sutra teaches that. It teaches it in that way. Or the sutras which teach things teach emptiness as being things not existing by means of their own intrinsic nature are showing those two aspects of things. So in the passage itself from the Praise of Dharmadhatu, just to go over this verse again, it says that the sutras which teach emptiness, whatever the Buddha has taught, these are for the purpose of eliminating the mental afflictions. But these sutras do not eliminate or annihilate this element. The element here again is a term for meaning emptiness, this natural purity, the element which is the natural purity, emptiness in that sense.
Oh yeah, that only the yejan dendru demba chuba membe. That you show na shishe. Tony yo are Tony demba erejang dendru mares. Tony demba is the tachi shiwana nane tumbi cheza. Koran yudu chebi yujan guzola nazu the nezu tumba in san demba square. Dendru said the gachalache. In the demba chuba membe, Kondo sheba lun tedang. Lun te gacha demba gabi Tony jang yeba minship mawatang. Nimo seba pongwala tenda bi tekwana ye to muge she mawa gobala anu kunsu togure rwa o gacha deba ka toni yeba mi se de goyatang nimo seba pongwala tenda bi toni kunsu to muge she de gobaki anu kunsu togure ji o
Tony de you can temper to member dendru
demba yin dendru mare
dendru demba yin can
demba imba tenda demba rwa ko nazu da nezu tumba yin za demba skware
so here this passage from the Praise to Dharmadhatu, this therefore what this is saying is that although that emptiness exists, emptiness in the sense of the extinction of all of the mental afflictions, the pure element in the sense of the mind being divorced from all of the stains of the mental afflictions, that is not established as real. Here, one has to distinguish between what is being meant by real. That is, within the perspective of this awareness, which has investigated the nature of reality, then emptiness appears as it exists. So it is real in that sense. It is, one can say it is ultimate reality. So it is real in the way such that it necessarily appears, it exists as it appears. But it's not established as real in the sense of something being able to withstand analysis. La again gonda demba duba dan demba kebar dendrupang demba
dendrudan dembe kebayo ares demba sina chini demba reda dendru mares chini demba imba kareresana nane tumbi cheyenza nanzu da ne zu tumba daji yege teso ma yangan dewa denjibu jibu denji zimba miluwa sula songa otena chichene.
So then the difference here that we have to make carefully distinguish is that when we say something is established as real, it would be, for something to be established as real, it would have to exist by means of its own intrinsic nature. Because things appear to us as if they were established by means of their own intrinsic nature. So in that sense, there's nothing which is established as real, because there is nothing which is established by means of its own intrinsic nature, even emptiness. So nevertheless, we can say that emptiness is real because it's ultimate reality. It's real in the sense that it exists as it appears to its principal awareness, the principal awareness that within the perspective of that principal awareness, which has investigated reality, then it exists as it appears. It appears as it exists, one could say. So because of that, it's this text which we've been discussing here, the praise to Dharma Dhatu. This text actually serves as a source for negating the wrong positions that were mentioned previously. The one being that emptiness, in the sense of the negation of things being established as real, which is the object of negation, that emptiness doesn't exist at all. So some people advocate that emptiness is non-existent. That's a wrong view. And then that another position would be that one doesn't need to understand emptiness, the emptiness which is the ultimate reality, in order to exhaustively get rid of the mental affliction. So actually this verse serves as a source to negate those two misconceptions.
Oh yeah. Da chunyi wa chunyi denpa chuwa omjar chewe tenzin do minu ba. Da tajun chunyi denpa kasangaya long chaya terishate. Tena deba tenyi le mida dongba donga xe chawa sumbi sem zhong che chotu semni zhong che bi chunyi rangshin meba yin si. Ai tegi ane kaso re chunyi denpa chuwa omjar chewa ki tenzin do minu ba ma se. Da tenda mida badang, donga wadang, dongwa sumbo te doba ki, chawa sumbo te ki, sem zhongwa chigare. Chotu semni zhong che wa, ane chotu sem zhong che ki, jotu che de kare sana, sem rangshin ji, chuwa zimbi, zimba zhong che ki, ane lo de kare re, ane chene rangshin meba yin, sende ka rangshin meba dobe lo de re. 제당 초도 셈니 정체비 천이라시 매바인 셈라시지 주와 준비 준비 정제 셈마다 제와나 셈마다 제와 정제기 아니 초대스 가래에서나 아니 셈라시 매바 시비 최라시 매바 시와들이.
So then in order to demonstrate that if one if somebody practices meditation on nature, the dharmata, the nature of things, as if it was established as real, even if one does that, one's unable to, or doing that, one is not able to get rid of, eliminate the misapprehension of things as being real. And the verse, then another verse is cited from the same praise that was the praise to Dharmadhatu that was cited above. And as we've mentioned previously, that it says that the three things that is impermanence, emptiness, and suffering, by means of these three, one purifies the mind. And the supreme agent that purifies the mind is the phenomenon of absence of intrinsic existence. Here, where it says that which purifies the mind to the supreme degree, the mind here, which is being purified, is the mind which misapprehends things as existing by means of their own intrinsic existence. Or one could say that the mind which has stains of that misapprehension of things as being intrinsically existent. Then the phenomenon which is the supreme agent of purification of the mind in this sense is itself the absence of intrinsic existence.
미다바다 동화와다 동화당 미다바다 동화당 다음에 바기 또기 어테다기 안에 차와숨보 되게 안에 심지 녀mom비 참아 라바기 당 안에 종화체 안왜 다심 참아 안에 가서 참어 줘야 되라 안에 돈이 무슨 답이 지시 남들 가서 돈이 따라 줘주지 공부 한번 되더니 세 직방인 말이 라 대심에다 주주르긴 하네 아니 돈이 다 돈반이가 따와대 또 안에 가서 돈이 또 용 따와대 무슨 또 별로인데 다 영원 발라 초월 집에 조직을 남어야 되체 된다위 아니 대기비 치 공부 한마디 안에 뒤텐도 좋아 인수만 아시센터 대지부터 내용지를 좋아.
So then, again, to go over this verse, again, where it says impermanence, empty, suffering, we discussed that previously, and these are referring to, where it says emptiness there, it's referring to the coarser understanding of emptiness, as described yesterday. But all of these practices of meditating on things as being impermanent, suffering, and devoid of a self, those practices serve as sort of adjuncts to the supreme way of purifying the mind, which is the understanding of emptiness as in the sense of absence of intrinsic existence. And this is the same exact thing is expressed in the Compendium of Valid Cognition by Dharmakirti, where it says that among the 16 aspects of the Four Noble Truths, then it's the realization of emptiness, understanding of emptiness, direct realization of emptiness, which is the actual agent that purifies the mind, whereas all of the other practices that one does and the understanding of the different aspects of the reality, the truths and so forth, is all of those are supports. They function as adjuncts to that.
라신지 매바 라신지 세비 세바티 라신지 투바 까비 까바 까자움 나대 돈이데 취지인 취니 돈바니 내누타도 세강가 지바인 말이 취니 취인 내로 타도 안 동반이 대신이 양다타 그래서 강강 명이 남자 좋고 말해.
So then it says that phenomeno's absence of intrinsic existence itself, one should meditate upon the Dharmadhatu as one should meditate upon the absence of intrinsic existence of all phenomena, that itself, as the Dharmadhatu. So here Dharmadhatu is one of the multiple synonyms for the reality of things. One could say emptiness is a name for this. The final mode of existence of things is another name for this. Dharmadhatu is a sphere of phenomena is another name for this. The limit of reality is another name for this. 주기인 토니
아니 최인이 아니 내로 타도 안답이 타 대신이 제주가 담명이 남자 좋지.
So then suchness or dharmadhatu, dharmata, which we translate here as nature, and then the final mode of existence of things is another name for this. Suchness, all of these are synonyms here.
Oh yeah, that's all.
Did I get it? nga 열어봐. 돈이 열어봐. 동반이 emptiness.
야. 최인당. 최인 공부하더니 최인이 동반이 공부하더니 창조기 가서 셈좀이 초도 송배. 늘다나위 천하 랑신 주바 늘다나위 천남 랑신지 주바미 동바 체동 임배 대래 로서 아니 동반이 담바 주와시 검지 돈이도 줘비 초라 치다 장두롱 야.
So that being the case, since this where it says here that these phenomena, the absence of intrinsic existence of these phenomena, which is these phenomena not being established.
가서 최용 공부 되니 셈좀 쳐도 송바레스 송배 대단나의 천어 랑신지 주와 매비 동바데 아니 체동레 동 가지기로 체동 임배 랑신지 주와 매비 동바테 레 로수 아니 동바니 덴바 주바시 검지 돈이도 줘비 초 기타 장주름 그 말에 장두롱 그 말에 기타 장두롱
주디는 랑신기 두베 랑신 매번이 검치 추기 인당 대공반이 심종의 초도수
대공반이 있으니 간에 최용 공부 아니 동반이 공부 되니 심종의 초도수배.
So then the Dharmadhatu, which is to be meditated upon here, is that very absence of intrinsic existence with respect to phenomena. That is, that all these phenomena are without any kind of nature which is established by means of its own intrinsic existence. So that quality of the absence of nature, some kind of nature which is established by means of its own intrinsic existence within phenomena, that itself is the Dharmadhatu, which is to be meditated upon here. And that very meditation itself is said to be the supreme method of purifying the mind. That being so, then what follows here is someone might have a misconception about this. Someone might say, or there are misconceptions about this, where and we'll give the misconception next. But here it says, how would it be suitable, since this verse, this text, is teaching Dharmadhatu as this absence of intrinsic existence, how could it possibly be suitable to cite this text in support of a position which is as follows? The position which is being negated here is that like this. The position here is that emptiness, which is phenomena's absence of intrinsic existence, phenomena not being established by means of their own intrinsic existence, that kind of emptiness is a nihilistic emptiness. And therefore, there's a form of emptiness which is to be meditated upon, which is to be cultivated, which is a kind of emptiness which is established as real apart from that nihilistic form of emptiness which has been just stated. In this position, they're holding that emptiness in the sense of absence of intrinsic existence is a nihilistic form of emptiness, and that there's another form of emptiness apart from that which is established as real.
Oh yeah, that is. Didn't know which one Ranji Chua maybe Tomba Tonyumane, and a Chadoni Batu. And it tell a law, so and it only Demba Chua, Comji, and a Gomji Tony, the job again, any tennis. Tennis, Shajon and drew machine do. And it drew Yabasone. And it drew Jibapon Chabana, and Jibi Dunga Seva Chavala. Shajon and Drumeba Temba T. Yambola. Anna Drumeba Temba T. Yambol Mendroyes. Shajon and Drum Machine do Yaversone, Jibis, Jiba Seva, and Jibidunga Sevala, Shajon and Drumeba Temba T. Yambol Mendroyes. Mendroche, Nujona, Shindon Yeche, Dangue, Mawadang, Drade. That is young bit. That Semjanum did not know la Demba Shane. Demba Nam Ani Semjanum did not know la Demba Shane. Dungas Seva la no la Demba Shane. Chitana go no la Demba Shane. Ani Dungas Seva la Kan la Demba Sumi shitty demetu Dovati Yambo Medroyes. Television, Temiji, Demba Yoba Danguish, my Chiro. Stop turned it. That's better touching what check.
So then an example is given here of why that's the case. Someone who asserts that that what is actually emptiness, that is the absence of intrinsic existence of things, is someone who says that sense of emptiness is really just a nihilistic emptiness, and rather there's another form of emptiness which is established as real. Holding that sort of position is just like the example as follows. Such a position is if there was a case of where someone is frightened, they're suffering from fright because they think that there's a snake in the east. Yet, I mean, there actually isn't a snake in the east, but they believe that in the eastern direction there's a snake, and they're frightened of that. And then someone, in order to get rid of their that sort of fear, the fearful suffering that they're experiencing, one doesn't show them that there's no snake in the east, but and instead of using that as the antidote for that fear that they're experiencing, one instead says, oh, we don't use the absence of the snake in the east as a way of dispelling the fear of someone who thinks there's a snake in the east. Instead, we need to show them that there's a stump in the west. And so someone who says that or someone who advocates the view of emptiness that's just been discussed above is just like that. Somebody who says, no, we don't need to show that there's no snake in the east to the person who's frightened of the non-existent snake in the east. Rather, we need to show them that we have to positively show them there's a tree or a stump of a tree in the west. Yes. Yes.
Semjala di dana wala dambara shene.
Ale di jomason. Semjala di dana wala dambara shene.
Semjala ana chidanga nanga ngombo di dana wala dambara shene. Ane dunga wa sewala. Ane khan dambara sumi shide deme du topade nyambor mudro yi. Tele shi shen shi teme di tengo wa dambara yoba tengo shi ma chiro.
So then, so the example, the way you apply this example to the preceding case is that here, sentient beings have things appearing to them as if they existed as real, and then they apprehend them as if they were real, and then they suffer as a result of that. So in order to get rid of that suffering, if one has to show them, make them understand that the basis which they're apprehending as being real is not real. But without doing that, without causing them to understand that the basis which they're apprehending as being real, the thing that they're apprehending as being real is unreal, instead, if one, as an antidote for their misapprehension of things as being real, one instead teaches them some kind of meaningless or non-existent object as real, as the real thing, then it would be just like the example that's been given above. The person who's advocating that interpretation of emptiness would be instead of showing sentient beings the non-existence of that which they're grasping as real, such a person is teaching them some other meaningless, non-existent object as if it was real, to alleviate the suffering of sentient beings.
Oh yeah. That is 가소래. 가사당 최라심에 받다나 봐야다. 아니 가소래. 랑동 주마다고 인수당. 아니 우리 시기 아니 가소래 최자단데 아니 타냐 가소래 자위 채나 아니 가사다 풍보다서 많이 장 아니 크바 많이 봐. 리시지 많이 받아 리시지 크바니 오데 지도 되바데 되바데 미리바인자 리시지 많이 받아 리시지 크바 많이 받기 미리바다. 여장 라시지 연명거 봐. 그러와 여장 라시지 연명거 봐다. 어다 진조 어디 제바디 다 뒤에저기 한번 채워인 말이야.
So above then, up to this point, we've discussed the various aspects in which the person is misapprehended, the way in which the wrong apprehension of the person is to be negated through reasoning, the way in which once one has negated the misconceptions of a person, that doesn't entail the non-existence of the person. And that the existence of the person, although the person is not real as it appears, the person nevertheless exists. On that basis, one is able to establish the conjunction of the appearance and the emptiness together with respect to the person. And then likewise, the discussion above shows that the reasoning awareness, which has investigated reality, negates the intrinsic existence of things, but that negation of an intrinsic existence by means of a reasoning awareness does not entail the non-existence of things such as persons. That it doesn't mean that the negation of the intrinsic existence of the person does not entail that the person is not established at all. And then Yurkyang Rikshigi Kikpatang Rikshigi Matrupa Kikpatang Matrupatang Yurkyang
Rikshigi Kikpatang then we cast a member.
Didn't make didn't you can Rangshingi So likewise, that although something doesn't exist by its intrinsic nature, that nevertheless exists. All of these have been discussed.
Nyangandewa Tenjibu said, "Oh, that was Tenjungi Chaba, Lumuluki Chaba."
So then, likewise, we've discussed the difference between something being real and being spurious. If something is real, it exists as it appears. If something is spurious, there's a discrepancy, a discordance between the way it appears and the way it exists. Similarly, the difference between something being deceptive and undeceptive. The phenomenal things are deceptive in the sense that they, and spurious in the sense that they don't exist as they appear, whereas reality exists as it appears, therefore it's not deceptive. And likewise, that though nature, the nature of things, dharmata, it appears within the perspective of within the perspective of the vision which sees reality. So that reality exists within that as it is seen within. It exists as it is seen within the perspective of that awareness of reality, and yet it's not established as real in the sense of being able to withstand analysis.
Oh yeah, that is Sanje Shendo Mide Buwaye, Drogenanda Shenla Sheba, Yi Dang Guru Rana Mandala.